Hey guys, it's James, and I wanted to show you how you can calculate your own dividends in Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. Now I have three different calculators here. With each calculator, as it goes up in the size of the calculator, it will give you a more accurate result for the amount of dividends you would receive. So I'll be using the ever popular QYLD and VOO ticker symbols to be able to analyze those funds and see how much dividends you would get. What I would like to achieve at the end of this video is to make sure that you guys understand dividends a little bit better, and if you follow along with the formulas, you will be able to create this calculator on your own in Google Sheets. Let's go ahead and focus on calculator number one, the most basic of dividend calculations. And what I like to do for my calculators is put all of the yellow shaded boxes would be my inputs, so I would change these numbers, and the greens would be my outputs. So let's say we had a portfolio size of $10,000 and the portfolio was giving us a dividend yield or an annual percentage of 3%. Now you can find for different stocks and ETFs, you can find the annual dividend yield usually on the summary page of websites like Seeking Alpha, NASDAQ.com, or even Yahoo Finance. Those are the three main websites I visit to be able to get stock or ETF dividend yield values. Let's say you had a 401k and you had a modest 3% dividend yield and your portfolio size was $10,000. Your annual dividend would be calculated to be $300, or if you normalized it to monthly, it would be $25 a month. And then with this calculator, you can determine if you want to be paid a certain amount in annual dividends or monthly dividends. You can play around with these numbers to be able to get what you would like. So let's try to play around with these numbers to be able to get $50,000 a year or close to $4,000 a month. So let's say we kept our portfolio size of $500,000. We would need to up the dividend yield to be able to get this $15,000 figure to $50,000. So you would need to change your holdings to be able to get a 10% dividend yield. Now that is very difficult. Now that would be pretty difficult because there's not many funds out there that actually pay a dividend yield, and then if you put all your eggs in one basket, it can be a little risky. But let's just go ahead and work with these numbers for the sake of the calculation. So like I said, these numbers are inputs right here. So how are we getting to this number? It's actually a lot simpler than you think. All we're taking is taking your portfolio size multiplied by the percent dividend yield. And remember, this 10% is an annual percentage number. Once we get that, we get $50,000, and your monthly dividend is simply your annual dividend divided by 12. Now we know that not all stocks and ETFs are going to pay in a monthly dividend, but depending on how well you're diversified or what stocks you own, you could always get paid in a quarterly dividend and then budget accordingly to be able to get $4,200 a month. So let's go ahead and go to calculator number two. So what we'll do is we'll break down this dividend yield number right here and go into a little bit more of depth into what this number and how we come to this number. So you might be looking at this little simple calculator and be thinking it can't be that easy to determine how big of an annual dividend I would receive from just two numbers. Well, you remember this number right here is your entire portfolio size. So you could have 3,700 holdings that could equal your $500,000, and then your dividend yield number also represents your average dividend yield per holding in your portfolio, and then each dividend yield of each holding is going to represent how much a company has paid out in dividends per their price share, which would give you your final annual dividend yield percentage. So in calculator 2, we'll go ahead and calculate this number right here from the dividend payout. So let's say we're working with QYLD, ticker symbol QYLD. Let's say it's a monthly frequency, and once we go through the calculator, I'll show you how to add this if you would like to play around with different ticker symbols with different frequency payouts. But QYLD is on a monthly payout. Their dividend payout, on average, it's been about 22 cents for the year of 2021, 22 cents per year. So where are you going to find that number? Go to Seeking Alpha, type in QYLD, go over to the Dividends tab, and then on the sub tabs, go to Dividend History. We scroll down and we can grab or take a look at the 2021 monthly dividend payouts. And if you look across the board, it's been about an average of 21 cents. And then with a whopping 50 cents paid in the month of December, which is quite wild. On our third calculator, we'll go ahead and utilize the ability to be able to take all of the monthly payouts and then determine a total dividend yield. So with this ticker symbol QYLD, their average dividend payout, let's say it's been 22 cents, the dividend yield on average for 2021 for QYLD will have been close to 12% or 11.89. The stock price is received by Google Finance Formula using the ticker symbol and quotes price end quote. And then we come over here and then the green is calculated by taking a desired annual dividend number divided by the dividend yield. So this number right here can be a little bit more accurate than this number if you want to determine your dividend yield by your dividend payouts. So let's go ahead and use some VOO numbers. So I went ahead and removed this for you so I can show you how to do it fresh. On view more cell actions, click on data validation, and then we'll go ahead and change to list of items. So we went ahead and typed in our frequency of dividend payouts, and it doesn't really matter which order they're in, and then just click save, and then don't worry about anything else. So now VOO, we know VOO is a quarterly payout. Their average payout, where are we going to get this from? We'll go over to Seeking Alpha, type in VOO, go over to the dividends tab, click dividend history, and then for the year of 2021, $1.26, $1.33, $1.30, $1.53. Let's go ahead and put in $1.33. So let's say the quarterly payout was $1.33. So now you have your inputs, your ticker symbol, the frequency of dividend payout being quarterly, your actual dividend payout of $1.33, and then to be able to calculate your dividend yield, you're going to calculate it from this dividend payout number right here. So how are we going to do that? This might look fairly difficult, but I'll go ahead and delete it and we'll start fresh. All we have to do is type in Ifs Formula, and all this does, it allows us to type in multiple conditions depending on the value chosen in the frequency dividend payout cell. So let's just go ahead and start with quarterly, since that's what we have. So what we have to do is we have to say if this cell right here equals, and put quarterly in quotes, if B19 equals quarterly, and then to be able to calculate your dividend yield, what you have to tell it is a formula. You have to say my dividend payout is $1.33 multiplied by 4. So for the entire year, I'm going to get $1.33 multiplied by 4 is going to give me a certain value, and then I'm going to divide that by my stock price to be able to give me a dividend yield percentage. VOO gives me a dividend yield of about 1.21%, and from knowing VOO, that is really close to the dividend yield of VOO in 2021. So let's say you wanted to add the entire array. So let's say you wanted to change this frequency payout for checking another ETF or another stock, and you wanted to change it to monthly. All you have to do here is type in the new formula. You say B19 is equal to monthly. You have to take the dividend payout. This is multiplied by 12, because if this is a monthly payout, then your dividend payout would be times 12 and then divided by the stock price. And then obviously if it is a monthly paying dividend, your dividend payout will change as well as your ticker symbol, and then you will get accurate results. So now that we have quarterly and monthly in there, let's go ahead and just change it real quick. And if it was monthly, and then we put in a monthly fund here to be able to get the stock price, QYLD changes the stock price to 22. We change this to monthly, and then if you recall, the QYLD dividend payout is about 22 cents per month, which gives us a dividend yield of close to 12%. And if you know QYLD, that's what the dividend yield has been. And then over here in this tab, to be able to calculate if you wanted a certain target annual dividend per year, I went ahead and put these numbers in as hard numbers. And then these numbers right here are simply the annual dividend divided by 12. So to be able to do that, you simply take annual dividend divided by 12, and it'll give you your number. And this right here is your amount invested to be able to get your annual dividend. Let's go ahead and delete all these numbers, and I'll show you how to do that. So to be able to determine your portfolio size or your amount invested, to be able to receive $50 from this dividend yield, you would simply take this number right here divided by 12%, and that gives you $420. And then you can take this formula here and repeat it in all of these cells here. But to be able to drag it down so we don't have to do it in every single cell, we go ahead and lock the dividend yield number by doing $, in front of the B and in front of the 23. Take that, drag it down. It will take each number from the cell over here and divide it by the dividend yield, which should give you your amount invested or your portfolio size to be able to achieve this annual dividend. So with QYLD paying a 12% dividend yield, you would need $420,000 invested to be able to achieve $50,000 in annual dividends, or close to $4,000 a year. So I know that was a little bit more complicated than this. It's still not as accurate as we can get it. If we come over to the dividend calculator 3 right here, column right here is the monthly dividend stock or ETF. I'll show you how to get these outputs, knowing each monthly dividend number depending on the ticker symbol. And then this would be if we had a quarterly dividend stock or ETF dividend payout. We have to find the numbers, go ahead and put them in here, ticker symbol, and then how big our portfolio is. And then over in this column, if you wanted to take your annual dividend number for a portfolio, let's say it's your 401k, for your portfolio, if it was $2 million and it paid you last year $75,000, it'll calculate your dividend yield for you. And then it takes your annual dividend received and then it divides it into quarterly and then divides it into monthly. So over here, your inputs are the monthly payout. So over here, these are the monthly dividends paid out to you for your desired ticker symbol or your desired stock or ETF. So again, we're going to analyze QYLD, and you can get all of these numbers here. These are the numbers that QYLD paid each month for their dividends in 2021. And you can get these numbers over from Seeking Alpha. So I already went ahead and put in the dividend numbers for QYLD, and then I played around with the portfolio amount. I just put in a random number. So remember, the yellow is all inputs, and then the greens are your calculations or your outputs. The stock price is received by typing in Google Finance and then clicking the cell number, which we have our ticker symbol in it, and then quotes price, end quote. And that'll give you your current stock price. So the total payout of dividends for QYLD in 2021 was close to $2.81. All we have to do is do this formula here, sum parentheses from I7 to I18, close parentheses, and this gives us our total payout. And then from these two numbers, we can calculate our dividend yield. We take total payout divided by the current stock price, and this will give us a dividend yield for the year of 2021 of 12.66%. And if you wanted to go even further, at each month end, you could take varying stock prices as the stock price differed for each month, and then determine average dividend yield every month, and then take the average of each dividend yield per month to be able to determine even more accurate value for dividend yield. But to not make it that complicated, I went ahead and took today's current price of $22, took the total payout of 2021, divided it by the stock price, which gives me a dividend yield of 12.66% for 2021. And then to determine annual dividends, I simply take my portfolio amount, multiply it by the annual dividend yield percentage, and that gives me $44,000 for this portfolio size. And for quarterly, I simply take the annual dividend divided by 4, annual dividend divided by 4, and then monthly, I take the annual dividend divided by 12. So that is how you can determine in a more accurate way than calculator 1 and 2 a annual dividend payout. Let's go over to the next column. Let's say you had a stock or ETF that paid a quarterly dividend. Let's go ahead and use VOO. I already grabbed the numbers for you. So again, yellows are inputs. I type in the ticker symbol VOO, and let's say we had $10,000 in VOO. The stock price is going to be found by typing in equals Google Finance, ticker symbol, and then quotes price in quotes, close parentheses, and today's price for VOO is $439. The total payout for VOO for 2021 is found by summing up all of the quarterly dividends. So that would be sum K7 all the way to K18, and that comes out to be $5.42 paid in annual dividends per year per share, which comes to a dividend yield of 1.23%. How do we find that? Again, just like we did over here, you take the total payout, divide it by the stock price, and you get a dividend yield of close to 1.23%. Come down to annual dividends, and you take your portfolio amount, multiply it by your annual dividend yield, and you get $123 of annual dividends with every $10,000 invested in VOO. For quarterly dividends, take your annual dividend, divide it by 4. For monthly, take your annual and divide it by 12. And then over in this column, if you had an annual dividend payout for your portfolio, let's call it your 401k portfolio. Let's say if your 401k paid you $75,000 in dividends, and how big was the portfolio? Let's say it was $2 million. How do we calculate that? We calculate dividend yield by taking the annual dividends paid to you divided by your portfolio size, which gives you 3.75%. Let's say you wanted $75,000 per year in annual dividends from your 401k, and your 401k dividend yield is 3.75%. You would need close to $2 million. And then for $75,000 in annual dividends, here's your quarter number, and then here is your monthly dividend number. If this calculator helped you understand dividends better, or you were able to follow along and create a Google Sheets just like this, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, head down into the comments, and if you want to see a different variation to this calculator, let me know, and thanks for watching.